What's going on, everybody? It's your boy C-Zar with C-Zar Gets Crypto. We're gonna look at Ethereum today. We're gonna do looking at it. Here we go. I've got Ethereum pulled up here. I've got my RSIs pulled up. You can see if I drop this here, I've got my 123 MA. That's this purple line. I've got my 123 long-term RSI, as I like to call it. And I've got my 10 RSI, my short-term RSI. I find significance in using the RSI. I find even more significance in using a long-term and a short-term RSI. They react similarly, but ultimately have different values, different metrics of value. Anywho, whatever. We're gonna get into it. So far, our long-term RSI is below 50. We're in bearish control. We're in a no-no zone. It's nice to be above the 50 on the longer-term RSI. We can see here. Here's the 50 level right here. Basically, actually, let's try to get it very accurate, like kind of right there. That's the 50 level. If I was to put a line on this, we can see, I mean, it's safe to say that we have found resistance on it. 1, 2, 3. We kind of found a little support on it, but ultimately proved it as resistance again, and we have yet to even come up and touch it. And it looks to me like we're coming down on this. This does not look good for the longer term price movements. That not the shorter term stuff, at least for the longer term stuff. Here we've got the RSI and what looks to be, this is not good either, what looks to be a rejection off of the 40 level. 40 level, just so you know, just like the 60 level up here, right, is the bearish control zone. Just as the 60 is the bullish control zone, 60 and up, right, the 40 and below is the bearish control zone. We actually came up to it, rejected it. That doesn't normally spell good things. If we go back in time here, we can look when we kind of resisted this area here, found resistance. Like right here, we found resistance. We came down more. Here, right here, we found resistance and we came down more, unfortunately. And we did not have bullish. Man, I can't do this with TradingView. We did not have bullish divergence here, but we still found a nice relative bottom or nice relative low point. And then what did we do? Eventually, off this bearish control zone, we found kind of a support area around here, and we went up. We had a nice little like uptrend before having another shitty downtrend. Anyways, not the point. Main point is we rejected off the bearish control zone. That does not look good. Does not spell good things, to be completely fair. If we were to take this and look at it on the weekly, I'm going to delete all my little things that I've drawn. If we look at it on the weekly, something else that's not good. I've talked about this in past videos, is that we've rejected our 123 MA. It's not a good thing. It's definitely not a good thing. Confirmed it as support, now confirming it. I mean, tested as support, broke through it, confirmed it as rejection. We've done that before, once in Ethereum's history. I don't know, let's look at the index, actually. US, yeah, there we go, index. Yeah, so once in its history. And it wasn't good the last time that it happened. In fact, I guess it's safe to say we've never actually found support on this line. Once we break through it, it's a good thing. Once we break below it, it's a bad thing. And once we reject off of it, it's also a bad thing. You can see the last time we rejected off it, we kind of meandered our way down. We didn't have a dramatic move down like we did this time. Who's to say that we're not going to do a similar thing right now and just meander our way down? We could move down dramatically. I do actually think we're going to. Again, I've talked about this one before. If we take the all-time high of Ethereum to the most current low, you can see very, very clearly that we have rejected off of the green line here, which is the 50 level on the Fibonacci retracement. Rejecting off of the 50 level is not common. In fact, the 50 level, the 50% of a range, is not even a Fibonacci retracement or ratio, but it's included in the tool because it's halfway through the range, and sometimes we find significance on it. It's not common, but when we do, we get significant moves off of the 50 level. We rejected off of it. It does not spell good things, and normally we get significant moves off of it, and we have, I think, so far. So far, the moves to the downside have been bigger than the moves to the upside, at least on a weekly candle basis. Now, if I pull up the RSI again, we can see that we rejected the 50 twice. We came up. I'm going to pull up the RSI a little bit bigger here. We came up to this 50 level right here once, twice, rejected it, okay? We've got, last week we had something that kind of looked like it was going to be bullish divergence, but I mean, we closed just low enough to where it I think psyched people out and got people bullish, and really they had no reason to be. What we've done here is we've kind of created a resistance line. You can see here that we closed a low point here, and we've actually tipped that low point twice. Not only that, but over here we tipped it as well. This is kind of a resistance zone, I think. I think it's safe to say right there, if I drew a line, in fact, right here, we've got significance here, significance here, significance here, and we have significance all the way back over here at a closing and opening basis, at a closing and opening basis. Wow, even all the way back to all-time highs over here. And we are rejecting this level right now. Not a good thing. So far, a lot of stuff that does not look good. Looking at the RSI, I do think that we're going to come lower. I think that what we could end up doing is coming back down to this oversold zone. I'm personally not thinking of buying any Ethereum until we get there. I am short on Ethereum right now. I've been short for the last few days, and I'm happy with it. You know, if it comes back up and I have to take a minor profit instead of a big profit, if it doesn't come all the way down here, I'm cool with that. I'm only investing 0.04% of my total portfolio into my trading account because shit's just weird right now, guys. I'm doing it more for fun. I'm doing it more for practice, and to make a little bit of cash on the side too, but just a little bit. You know, I'm not putting everything into this. I am short, but I'm not even risking 0.5% of my portfolio. Okay, just to make that clear, I am convicted we're going down. But obviously, I'm not 100% convicted. If I was, I'd put all my money in it, right? You should never be 100% convicted. If you are, you need to check yourself. Making money in this game is not about being right or wrong. It is about risk management, proper risk management. And that's what I'm trying to learn and help people learn throughout this whole experience. Anyways, we look at the longer term RSI on the weekly level. We were talking about the shorter term, how we bounced off the 50. What's not good, that's my daughter. We did bounce off the 50 here. That's normally a good thing, but it psyched us out. We came back down. We closed below it. Bad. Very bad. Very not good. Coming below this long-term RSI, especially on the weekly level, does not spell good things, y'all. In fact, the last time that we did that was in the last bear market, you know, around the lows. We could be around the lows, but I don't think we're quite there yet. I'm gonna take care of her real quick. Just one moment, y'all. Baby's got needs. Hi, baby girl. Hi. Just got 1, 2, 3. There you go. Whee. Okay. All right. I just had to give her a toy. She was bored. Okay, so back to the charts. I'm gonna try to make this quick. If it's not obvious that Ethereum's shitting the bed right now, I don't know how to make it more obvious. We could take a fib just to see. I actually don't know. I've probably done this fib plenty of times, but I don't know. I don't remember. Yeah, it kind of looks like we bounced off the 618. In my opinion, all we did really was confirm resistance at this key level up here. Maybe psyched people out thinking that this was a good bounce. It definitely had me convinced for a second. I was long whenever we bounced off of this. Closed my long. I went short. And I didn't make a video about when I went long because I just didn't make a video. But here's my video now, whatever. I think when we come to this 618, we are going to break it. Statistically speaking, with Fibonacci's, when you break the 618, it depends on how you break it. But normally when you break it, you're looking for the extensions after that. Okay, you're looking for, and don't get me wrong, I don't have it drawn up here. I should though. I'm gonna just, let's see, 0.886. That's the deepest fib retracement that we could get. It's at this line here. I'm gonna make it I don't know. Let's make it a different color. Let's make it like that kind of color, whatever. Okay, so it stands out. That is a deep retracement. That is a possibility that we could hit. But generally speaking, when we break this orange line, the 618 of any kind of fib retracement, you look to these extensions. Okay, you could look to the 786. You could look to the 0.7. You could look to the 0.86. It all depends on how it breaks it. On a first pass, that's generally how I look at it. But if we come down to the 618, we come back up and reject the 0.5, really what that tells me is we're probably going to keep going lower. We'll probably find some support around the 786 level. It is around $1,000. It wouldn't surprise me. Wouldn't surprise me if we hit $1,000, bounce back up to 1,200, and then plunged. But that would be very condemning. That would definitely be condemning for the 1272 and the 1618. If we come down from here and hit the 786, come back up and test the 618 as resistance and prove it as resistance, that is basically a death sentence, in my opinion, that we will see the 1272, if not the 1618, somewhere in that general range. Okay. That's my honest opinion. I do think that we might be in for something like that. We could just go straight down. That's not as likely in my opinion. It could happen. It really just depends. We've kind of flirted with the 618. We have found a little support on it, so that does bode well. That doesn't mean that we're necessarily going to come to these levels. It just depends on how we react from it from here. It does to me look like we are going to break it this time. If we can get below it and then come back above it, that's good. If we get below it and then test it as resistance, that's bad. So we will see when the time comes what happens for that. Another thing that I want to point out is Bitcoin. What's Bitcoin doing? You know, the Mac Daddy himself. Let's go on the index for this one as well. Well, Bitcoin just had a lower weekly close last week. It had a lower daily close the week before. You know, the lowest daily close we've had in years, and it keeps continuing to have lower daily closes without any bounces, without any, I mean, we have some significant volume, but the volume's coming in, but where's the price action? You know what I mean? I am calling for prices to do good in October. I know I made a video saying that. I do think that we will have price action do good. I do think that Bitcoin, at least, will close green on October, potentially even finding prices at 27,500 all the way up to $30,000. I said 27.5 to 29.5, somewhere in there. And I stand by that. I think that can still happen in October. But what I do think is going to happen first is we are probably going to go lower. How much lower? I don't know. We'll see. For Bitcoin, you know, that's for like a whole different video. But for Bitcoin, we've been, you know, we came down below the 618, proved it as resistance, came back above it, hit the 382 as resistance. We're finding support on the 886. That's the deepest retracement that we'd want to see. That's not necessarily a bad thing, but we did come up and confirm this as resistance, in my opinion. We have confirmed this as resistance. That is not a good thing. In fact, if you remember what I was just saying about Ethereum, this is the exact scenario that I'm afraid of for Ethereum, and it's happening right now for Bitcoin. Bitcoin could indeed be on a trajectory down to $16,000 or lower from here. Once it reaches that level, once it goes that low, I do expect that to be a bottom. I expect it to be an immense bounce. We're going to get a very nice bounce, more significant than this one. If I can just like scrunch it up to show you, you can see that if we scrunch it up, that this last bounce we had was kind of at an angle, something like this. I'm expecting that we will have, once we get down to like the $14,000 to $16,000 level, let's just put it right at 15,000, we won't have a bounce that's on average at the same trajectory. We're going to have a more significant bounce. It's going to bounce harder and faster. It's not going to meander like this. It's probably going to do stuff like this, right? Come up. It's going to come up real fast. It's going to be bullish. It's going to be some good stuff. But after the bearish, bullish moves come after the bearish moves. So if Bitcoin's going down, if Ethereum's going down, what's the rest of the market probably going to do? It's probably going to go down. Probably. Not everything has to go down, but it doesn't bode well for crypto, guys. The reason I'm talking about Bitcoin on this video is because when we look at the Ethereum Bitcoin pair, besides the fact that Bitcoin's the Mac Daddy, it's always good to look at Bitcoin. When you look at the Ethereum Bitcoin pair, we're on the daily here. I think actually let's go on the weekly. This does not look good. This does not look good. In fact, this to me looks like a distribution phase. If we were to call it that, you know, we've clearly got some resistance here at this line. We've clearly got resistance at this level. It keeps getting rejected. It works so hard to get back up to this level and then rejection, just rejection. And I think we're just at the beginning of this rejection for the Ethereum versus Bitcoin pair. What does the Ethereum Bitcoin pair mean? It means that this is basically how fast Ethereum moves against Bitcoin, right? When it's coming up, Bitcoin and Ethereum could both be dropping, but that just means Ethereum's dropping less. When it's coming down, Bitcoin and Ethereum could both be pumping, but Bitcoin's pumping more. In this case, it looks like Ethereum and Bitcoin are going to be dropping. The Ethereum Bitcoin pair looks, in my opinion, like dog shit. We have a lower low or a lower high here, right? Looks bad. This means that on this next drop, Ethereum will probably drop harder than Bitcoin. And if Bitcoin's the Mac Daddy of crypto, you know, for most of crypto, I consider Ethereum the Mac Daddy of most altcoins. I know that sounds confusing, but if Ethereum, what's bad for Bitcoin is bad for all crypto, but what's bad for Ethereum is bad for most altcoins. Just to put that bluntly. If we look at it, I don't know. We can draw like a little trend line here. Dun, da, 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 da. Yeah, we got some support here, support here, support here, support here, support here. Could we come back down and touch this line? Oh, yes, we can. Oh, yes, we can. From low to high, in fact, the 1272 on the 28th of November is right at that line. Could we go lower than that line? We could. You know, we could go to the 1618. It doesn't have to happen. But that's no coincidence, in my opinion, that 1272, a classic extension, is right at that level. From there, Ethereum could come back up, but just objectively looking at this looks like a distribution phase. This whole zone right here looks like it had a bunch of people thinking Ethereum was going to do better than Bitcoin, and maybe it did at times, maybe it didn't at times, whatever. It kind of looks like even like a BART pattern, right? We've got all this little like, and if it's a BART pattern, it's going to come down just as fast as it came up. That's classic BART behavior. Crypto is famous for the BART, man. It's just famous for it. Let's look at the RSIs for this. So we've got the long-term RSI. To me, it looks like it's positioned downward. It is above the 50, which is good. You want that, you know, no matter what, you want to be above the 50 for sure. I guess if you're looking to buy, you want to be below the 50. But if you're looking for price action to continue to the upside, you want to be above the 50. If we're looking at the short-term RSI, what's not good, what's really not good actually, and actually on the long-term RSI, we have a double top, not good. And here on the shorter-term RSI, we have a bearish divergence. That's not only formed, but it's been confirmed. We have broken out of this range. We had a bearish engulfing candle just 2 weeks ago. I think this is the beginning of a much more dramatic phase to the downside. Something like this, but potentially worse. It might be like this, but to the downside. We're below the 50 on this RSI. Not good. Not good. In fact, the last time that we did break below the 50 here, it wasn't necessarily good, but we held the 40 level, the bearish control zone. We did not delve into it. And, you know, we kind of came up a little bit, right? It wasn't a bad thing. But when we really broke below it, you can see this dramatic move took place. With this bearish divergence forming, the fact that we couldn't even get into the oversold or overbought zone, the fact that this is the strongest move it could produce, I'm thinking that the Ethereum price action is worn out. I'm thinking that it's due for some weak price action, at least against Bitcoin from the looks of this chart. Maybe Ethereum doesn't drop. Maybe it doesn't drop that hard. Maybe we get a scenario where Bitcoin pumps and Ethereum pumps too, and Bitcoin just pumps harder than Ethereum by a significant amount. That's totally possible too. But I think from the charts that we were looking at before, it's safe to assume that things are probably going to the downside. I do think we're going to get into the oversold zones with this. I think it's going to come down. It doesn't have to. You can see that we found support before, but this was in an uptrend. Traditionally, in a downtrend, you do come into these oversold zones before finding any kind of support. And I would say that, to me, lower high, we could be a bearish engulfing candle on the weekly, the biggest bearish engulfing candle that we've seen, in fact, since May of 2021. We could, in fact, be at the beginning of a downtrend, the beginning of a downtrend for the Ethereum Bitcoin pair on a short-term time frame or a medium-term time frame. Again, if we're looking at it, if we zoom out, you know, you take your line, or I'll draw that line again for you guys. Let's see here, something like that. You know, we're kind of, I don't know if that's the exact same line that I drew before, but we're in an uptrend. We're definitely in an uptrend overall with Ethereum on the macro. We break this line, then we can talk about being in a macro downtrend. Short term, though, I think we're going to make our way back down to this line. I think I've said that enough. I'm going to stop saying that. We're going to go back to the charts. There's one more thing I want to show you that I forgot that I missed out on with the RSI from Coinbase here. So if we're looking at this RSI, automatically, I mean, if you're a trader, you got the eyes, you can probably see it. If not, don't worry. We're going to show it to you. Draw a line here from this point down to here at these points. You can see that we are in a long-term downtrend on the RSI. We've rejected this line twice, not only twice, but the 50 level twice. Not good, not good. If we draw another line, right, from here to here, it kind of almost looks like, I mean, I could probably draw that tighter. Kind of almost looks like we're in a descending channel on the RSI. I don't think that Ethereum is going to find its bottom until we break out of this channel. And to do that, we're probably going to, on the RSI, have to come down here, form some kind of bullish divergence, diverging from the price, which means if we're to form bullish divergence, that the price is going to have to close lower than this close. And when that happens, we might be, probably will be, set up in a prime position to break out of this downward sloping range on the RSI. Because, I mean, let's just face it, Ethereum, I mean, it's got no more room to run. We're already bouncing off the 1920 area down here. I mean, it could come all the way down to zero. That's entirely possible, but let's just see where the zero is. I mean, the zero is basically February 2023. I don't think Ethereum is going to be going down for that long. It could, but even if it did, that's the longest I give it, because literally that's the zero. It's never done that in its history. I doubt that it's going to do it now. Not saying that it's impossible, but that would just be very, very extreme. Bearish on Ethereum. Very bearish on Ethereum. That's all I got to say. I don't know. I'm gonna draw this fib here and see. Yeah, I mean, we can take a look at this from high to low. Very bad, guys. Very bad. I'm gonna do this. There's just a lot of bearish things going on here. From high to low, we rejected the 618. We fucking rejected it, man, and we bearishly engulfed off of it. We're getting wicks to the upside down here. This is not good. Not for Ethereum. Ethereum buyers, beware. I'm short. Fuck, it's dropped already $10 since, I mean, for me, I mean, like, that's like, I don't know how, that's probably like $50, whatever, you know, like, still, it's not, you know, it's not good, guys. It's not good. We do have 43 minutes left in this week. It looks like we're closing it bearishly. We continue to drop with 43 minutes with less than an hour left in this week. It's not good. It's not good. Let's look at the Heikinashi. Yep. If you're not familiar with the Heikinashi, treat it as candles that are used to measure momentum. I'm not going to get into exactly how to measure it. I don't care to. If you want to look it up, you can look it up yourself. Just understand that you see all these greens. Well, clearly Ethereum wasn't green all those weeks. If we look at it, right, there was some red in there. It's not about that. It's kind of like a way of averaging out the candles. I'm not going to get into explaining it, like I said. So red means down. Green, you can see it kind of came up. You can see the trends more clearly. And clearly here, we went down, and now we just had an uptrend. That uptrend looks to have been depleted. Looks to be finished, which means that we're in the start of another downtrend, potentially. But to me, it looks like, I mean, with this week closing, we're going to have 3 weeks in a row. I mean, this one we only had 3 weeks, but we were in an uptrend, right? Anytime that we've had 3 weeks closing in a row in a downtrend, I mean, I don't know. Here we had 4. I don't know. I'm not saying that it has to keep going lower, but in my opinion, being that this is only the 3rd week, I do think it's safe to assume that we will probably go further down. We'll probably go further down. That's all I got. That's all I wanted to say. I hate it. I wish that things were good. I wish that it wasn't like this, but it is. It is like this. You know, I was ready for a bullish October. I'm still ready for a bullish October, at least for Bitcoin. But I think the first half of October is going to be bad. Maybe we find a bottom in October. Maybe October isn't bullish. Maybe it's November that'll be bullish. I think we're getting there. We're getting there soon. If you remember my last video, I talked about the Crypto Fear and Greed Index. I'm going to end it on that. We're going to go right back to it. Crypto Fear and Greed Index. I took 20 minutes to explain one thing. I'm going to do it for you now in hopefully 30 seconds. The Fear and Greed Index here has not been above, do you see this 50 level? We have not been above that 50 level since the beginning of April, since the first week of April. Well, maybe the second week of April, since April 10th, April 9th, probably April 9th, actually. Whatever, yeah. Oh, nope, April 8th we were below it. Let's say April 8th. Nope, April 7th we were below it too. I don't know, we kind of came back up. It's hard to see. It's really hard to say on this. Anyways, longer than 30 seconds to explain. What I'm trying to say is the beginning of April. Here we are in the beginning of October. April, May, June, July, August, September, October. It's been 6 months that the crypto fear and greed index has not seen a read above the 50. Now, while that might imply that we're overdue for some greed, that's not necessarily a good thing. We're in unprecedented territories right now. The market's so fearful that we can't get a blip of greed. The highest that we could produce was a 45. 45. Close enough, but we did not get above the 50. It's the only time in the 4.5 years that this entire thing has been in existence that we've gone longer than 3 months. I think a month and a half. Maybe it was 3 months, I think, though, actually, from my last video. 3 months was the longest time that we had before when we went below the 50 and came back above it. Now we've done it for 6 months. Something's not right, y'all. The market's fearful. The world is fearful. There's a lot going on a macroeconomic scale besides crypto. Pay attention. Pay attention. The charts are speaking. The sentiment is speaking. We are overdue for some sort of relief. There's no doubt that things don't just move in a straight line up. They don't just move in a straight line down. But regardless of all these metrics, regardless of the sentiment, whatever, you cannot argue price action. And right now, price action is disgusting. It's disgusting. So buyers beware. Short sellers, you're probably going to have a heyday. But this is not financial advice. This is just my opinion. I'm sharing what I'm doing with you people, whoever you are. I hope you all have a good day. And again, I'm just saying, man, this does not look pretty. This really does not look pretty on the RSI. We will probably not see a major bounce on Ethereum again until we come into this oversold zone. For me, it's like, fuck the price. I'm not even looking at the price. I'm waiting for this to get into the oversold zone. I do have my short ready to close somewhere. I think it's actually right there. I think I have it at 1180. Just because this is where, you know, we closed. We got a little line here at 1198 and then a little line here at 1165. I kind of just put it at 1180. If it hits that, cool. If we bounce before that, maybe I'll take less profits. If we go past that, whatever. I'm just going to be happy with the profits I got. I might look to go long once we're below 1,000 or at least 1,073. But I'm not even thinking about going long or buying at least Ethereum until then. I hope this video was informative. I hope it wasn't too long. I hope it wasn't too boring. I hope a lot of things. Whatever, guys. If you could leave a like and a comment or a whatever, subscribe, hit the bell. You can follow me on Twitter at ChrisHarris85. That's me. I'm BTCHRIS, BTC Chris. Here, I don't know. I make tweets a little bit more often than I make videos. And yeah. Anywho, you can even see here I was calling for a bullish October, November, something like that. I am looking for us to come up and touch this line. There is hope for that. I guess I can end this video with hope. Let's look at the DXY. The DXY, if we're looking at it, if we take this range, I'm gonna put it on the monthly. This is for crypto. This isn't just for Ethereum now. If you came for Ethereum, you can go. But if you wanna watch this, you can watch this. From the high of this range to the low of this range, discernible high to the discernible low of this whole range, we bounced right off the 1618. I forget what video I made, but I said that I'm not even looking to be bullish until we do that. Well, we did it. It's kind of time to be looking bullish, I guess, by this metric. But just because the DXY is going down does not mean that crypto has to go up. Keep that in mind. We're getting geared up for that. You know, it might be taking a break. It might be taking a pit stop. We're probably going to come back down to the 108 level before going higher. It could come lower than that. Who knows? We'll see. But it literally, I mean, you can't get more beautiful than that. It just freaking tipped it, man. Like, to the T, tipped it. That's the one thing I've got hopeful for assets around the world, is that the US dollar might show some weakness in the coming weeks. But again, a weak US dollar does not mean your assets have to go up. Generally, that does, but not always. This is not financial advice. This is just a silly guy doing a silly show. I hope you're all having a great day. And, yeah, just take care of yourselves. Be good. Yeah. Thank you. Thank you.